and the officers have been charged. I'm a fully
Yes.
disclose. First of all, I didn't bring it to the forefront because my question is, what can we do about it? Right. I'm not sure. We should know, but I'm also assuming if you're on Facebook or one of these social media platforms, you know about it. I don't want to spend 3 hours or 2 hours or 1 hour lamenting, a heinous, brutal crime at the hands and feet of Memphis police officers, because it to me is part of the problem with our police system. And here's what you need to know. I think the 4 officers are all Black. Mm-hmm. So there's that issue as well, because the police are infected with anti-Blackness. Doesn't matter what the color of the police are, which, is a hard thing to talk about because it's a nuanced conversation in this world of Black and white. We have painted ourselves into a corner talking about Black and white, as opposed to talking about systemic racism that's inherent and written into the Constitution, in the soil of this country, in the flag of this country. Every system is inherently anti-Black. Doesn't matter who's perpetuating or, working for the system. So how do we have this conversation about these 4 officers who I think they've been charged in the death of Tyree Nichols? What suggestions do you have in terms of how we should be talking about this?
Well, number one, feel the outrage. It is okay to get mad over things that should make you mad. If you don't, that's the problem. So feel the outrage, experience the moment. That family is going through hell right now. They have already seen this footage. Number 2, provide proper context for what you just saw. The proper context, these cops have adopted an ideology of anti-Blackness. Why? Because the system, as you just described, is already anti-Black. And it wasn't just that. They also believed that that blue uniform would have protected them because they are one of them, right? No, brother. It don't work like that for you, period. And number 3, we provide remedy through policy. Policy becomes light when you implement it correctly. What is policy? Policy is the social contract between community and government. We want better social contracts. And we utilize moments like this in history in order to create the catalyst necessary for a better social contract with this country.
Are you optimistic? I mean, I was just talking to my class today. I started back teaching about, the whole abolish the police. And yes, we can all say, and this is what makes even language like that complicated, because out of context, it sounds ridiculous, because who wouldn't want to have police come if you have had, somebody assault you, or if you had your home broken into, or your car broken into, or you had some sort of situation where you need the police. Like, nobody wants to not have that. They always come after the fact, though. I want them to be more proactive, like stop the carjacking before it happens. You need to be there. But it's the system that's broken. And it's not broken necessarily everywhere, because there's some places where you have police chiefs and mayors that are working in concert to make sure that there's community policing, where police actually live in the neighborhood or in the community and they know the people. But overall, are you optimistic that we will have a different policing system in this country?
Hell no, I'm not optimistic. I'm dogmatically committed to making it happen. Regardless of my lack of optimism, I have no faith in the powers that be to do this. What I have is a dogmatic commitment to be stronger than them. That's what I bring to the table. And I will say this about the system. I spoke to a group of elected sheriffs about a year and a half ago. And I don't know why they had me as the keynote speaker, but they called me in. I did the keynote speech. And I made it very clear that the badge they were holding on their shirts and inside of their wallets, that badge, those stars, were the same badges that the slave patrol wore. I held up one, showed it to them. Same badge. It looks exactly the same. The system was created to regulate Black bodies and protect white property. That's what the system was created to do. The system does not need to be fixed. It's working as it was designed to work. The system actually needs to be broken. If we can break the design of law enforcement being your public safety paradigm, meaning law enforcement was never your public safety dynamic anyway. Public safety is much bigger than law enforcement. But for some reason, we have fully adopted the notion that law enforcement is your public safety matrix, and it is not. Preventative dynamics, preventative opportunities, mentoring, housing, dealing with socioeconomic issues, and also making sure that crimes of survival are not punished, but are remedied. These are public safety dynamics because the police can only respond to crime. They are not even created by design to stop it. They are only created to respond to it. So how can that be your public safety measure in any local or state community?
Mm. And in the case of Tyree Nichols, who was shocked, pepper sprayed, beaten for 3 minutes to death. Like, that's a lot of violence. That's a lot of violence. It's a lot of violence on one slightly built man who was already subdued. 5 officers, all Black. I suspect it will not get the attention that George Floyd got. I suspect it will not get the attention that Breonna Taylor received because the officers were Black. How do we get Black people to be as outraged? And I said 4, it's 5 officers, 5 people on one slightly built man and beat him to death. What do we need to do to give justice to Tyree Nichols and comfort to his family?
Well, one, there's the microcosm of holding the killers accountable. And then 2, there's the macrocosm of making sure we utilize the moment to get a better policy, a better overall policy, better local policies. Out of the George Floyd murder, you did get better policies. You had an elimination of the no-knock search warrant, kind of. They ended up violating it, but it was on policy that they were not supposed to. Other movements similar happened in big cities, and people were generally paying more attention, which always is better for transparency. You just have to keep it going. I hate that it takes a tragedy to do this. And that's the part I wish we could work around and figure out how to get ahead of. But until that happens, we utilize moments like this to affect justice beyond. And I will continue to push the narrative of better social contracts, especially with Black communities in this country.